Welcome to Retire Right with Rick Durkee, presented exclusively by the Coastal Financial Planning Group here on News Radio 94.3 WSC. Rick Durkee is the retirement income planning and wealth distribution specialist in the Lowcountry. Are you ready to retire right? Here's your host this morning, Shane Griffin.
And good morning. Welcome in for another edition of Retire Right with Rick Durkee. I am your host, Shane Griffin. Each and every Saturday morning here at 9 o'clock, I have the privilege of sitting down with our local retirement, income planning, and wealth distribution specialist, Rick Durkee, to help you to retire right. Hello, sir.
Shane, glad to have you back in the host chair.
Yeah.
Hey, I miss you. We go these weeks sometimes when I bring guests on, and
I'm nowhere to be found,
and I don't get to see you. Yeah, but hey, thanks for coming back this Saturday morning.
Absolutely.
Look forward to, as we have in the past now for 8 years here on Retire Right, just sharing some retirement wisdom with our listeners. Yep.
And with the weather the way it has been over the past couple of weeks, spring is in the air, summer is around the corner, we're going to talk golf and how it relates to retirement planning.
Okay, that sounds like an interesting topic. Is this that one that you said a few weeks back ago? You weren't going to tell me what the topic was, so you could just surprise me with this? Golf, okay.
I did find an article that's interesting, how to relate golf to retirement planning and what you can learn from golf in regards to retirement planning. So that's the topic today, coming up in just a moment. But first, a couple of reminders. First of all, if you miss a program, if you wanted to listen to a program again, you can check the podcast page at 943WSC.com and search Retire Right with Rick Durkee. All the shows are there with their titles. You can also find the programs at Rick's website, cfpgroup.biz. And at that site, you can also check the calendar of events. Rick, you have a number of events coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks and months, correct?
cfpgroup.biz is where you can find them. Shane, College of Charleston, we have income allocation workshops. Hey, more to come out on that. Our listeners have been offered that book over the course of the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. David Gaylor wrote that book, and here's a little cat out of the bag on that. David Gaylor is going to actually be assisting us in some pre-programming to Retire Right, coming up here in the next few weeks, and that's something to look forward to for our listeners from that 8:30 to 9 o'clock slot. And for those of you that are retirement-minded, you'll certainly want to tune in a half hour early and get David's wisdom on income allocation. And what he's going to do is help you understand that I have learned his systems, and I'm able to teach those pieces of information, those threads of information that are missing from a lot of people's retirement plans. And we have classes in the first week of June offered through the College of Charleston that they sponsored called Income Allocation. The fee for those courses are $39. They're a one-day course. All fees will be contributed to the College of Charleston, to the North Campus, and look forward to those classes coming up. But check the website out, cfpgroup.biz. You'll find all the information you need about upcoming educational opportunities offered by the Coastal Financial Planning Group for retirees.
Well, let's jump to the topic, what golf can teach about retirement planning. Not sure how many golfers we have in the listening audience this morning, but today's topic is definitely relatable for many. An article I found at ToleikaDailyPress.com reminds us that golf is full of joys and frustrations, but you might not realize that some of the lessons you learn on the links can carry over to other areas of your life, such as retirement planning. So whether you're in retirement or nearing retirement, there are 4 points to consider, Rick, and we'll go ahead and jump right in. We'll start with try to overcome the yips.
The yips.
What does the author mean by that?
Well, I have to tell a story like I do usually. Okay.
Right.
I am about 12 years old. And we live across the street from a private golf course that our family couldn't be a member of to pay those membership fees. But on Saturday mornings, I could walk across that golf course and carry 2 bags of golfers' clubs for 18 holes. And then if I got done early enough, I could go out for another round of 9 or 18 with maybe a single bag and make some good money as a caddy.
Yeah.
But Shane, why I'm sharing this story is because golf can be very frustrating.
Oh boy, can it!
I remember this one fella and he just was not having a good day.
Happy Gilmore, was that his name?
Yeah, he needed anger management. But what he did was he took his club and he threw it. And, I went and picked it up. I was his caddy. However, I said to myself right then, I am going to learn how to play this game, and I'm going to learn how to have fun doing it. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed caddying just because you were out there in the fresh air. You were getting some exercise. We were walking the bags,
right?
And you were learning the game from good golfers and learning the frustrations from the bad golfers. But what it taught me was go out, enjoy the game, and just have a nice afternoon with the nice weather.
Yeah.
But long story short, yips. Yips are those ones that you miss the cup when you're putting.
Yep.
The yeps are the one where you go, yep, I made it. It's a
yips
good.
And yeps.
Yep. So when you miss those short putts, the ones you should be making, you might be in the grip of one of those things called a yip. Okay. As you know, it's not always easy to shake this problem. Sometimes golfers get a little bit frustrated, and but those that have been benefiting by working to improve their concentration, especially by adhering to some type of a system or a strict pre-shot system that you go through, a routine that you go through, probably a practice shot, okay? When those golfers do that, they're doing a very similar analogy to what you should be doing prior to retirement. So, for example, when investing in retirement or managing your portfolio during retirement, many people can get the investment version of yips, get a little bit scared when things get a little volatile, market downturns, things like that. Sometimes then we make some emotional decisions or some mistakes, such as selling a quality investment when the prices dropped. Remember the first rule of investing, Shane? Buy low and sell high. Okay, when emotion gets involved, oftentimes we sell high and buy low. Okay, so to overcome these type of investment yips, the solution is the same as for golf. Maintain your focus, concentrate, make the appropriate moves, such as building and maintaining a diversified portfolio that looks at your risk and make sure it's suitable for what your needs are of what you want and need this money to do in the future for you, what your goals are, and combine that with your risk tolerance. So if you have as I've mentioned before, an investor policy statement developed where you actually go through your risk tolerance and determine what it should be based on your pools of money and when you're going to use them in your lifetime, then you'll be doing just like in golf. You'll be stepping up to the ball. You'll be taking a practice shot or two, okay? You'll be visualizing and setting goals for what you want that ball to do, and then hopefully if you hit it right, it does what you want it to do.
There you go. That's the first point. Try to overcome the yips. Moving along to number 2, forget about that hole-in-one. I'm sure you've told your clients this before, haven't you? Don't look for that big stock. Forget about the hole-in-one.
Yeah, the superstar gainers, the Apple, the Home Depot, the things that have just, grown. There are decisions that need to be made about those assets and going after that hole-in-one as to, again, what do those particular assets represent as to when you plan on using them and how you plan on using them. It's okay to go for that superstar gainer or that hole-in-one with a stock that you may be planning on using latest in life because it will have volatility, and if you're not taking income off of it, maybe you're just trying to grow it and have it for a surviving spouse for their safety and surety, or perhaps for an heir, because remember with stocks, when you pass those on after your death, they pass on at a stepped-up basis. So there's a tax advantage to that. But, Shane, when you talk about hole-in-ones, it's every golfer's dream. I can remember, again, growing up on that golf course. On Mondays, the course was closed, and they opened it to caddies. And we'd go to the par 3, and we'd play that par 3 over and over again, trying to get as close to the pin as we could. Nobody ever got a hole-in-one, but, when you're teeing up and you're trying to shoot for that hole-in-one on the par 3, you're feeling pretty good. You might just want to go for it, but then when you do, you could end up overshooting the green, end up in the water, end up in the sand trap, end up in the woods. Many investors that also try for a hole-in-one in the form of pursuing that hot stock to make them rich oftentimes fail, okay, because they're not really looking at how that should fit into their three-bucket approach of
Right.
when they plan on using that money. So, however, by the time they hear about such of this stock, this
hot stock
that the herd is following,
Right.
okay, oftentimes it may have already cooled off, and as in many cases, this stock may not be right for their needs of what they want
Right.
this money to do for them. So instead of looking for that ultimate one-time winner, let's look for solid, consistent investment performance that manages downside risk.
Right.
Make sure that you're taking that volatility out of your portfolio and that you're comfortable holding these big gainers maybe for the long term. Maybe that's your Roth IRA money, some that is subject to a little bit more volatility and has the potential to earn higher returns because you are subjecting yourself to a little bit more risk. But the key here, Shane, is consistency. As you've said many times before, opportunistic in the good times and defensive in bad times. Okay?
The topic we are discussing this morning, what golf can teach about retirement planning. If you have questions about this morning's topic, you can send Rick an email, rick@cfpgroup.biz, rick@cfpgroup.biz, and you can also call 735-5065, 843-735-5065. Moving along to the third lesson is to study the course. You agree?
Yeah, I do. And a lot of retirees are golfers, males and females alike. They enjoy the game. But the better ones make sure that they look at that scorecard or they use that device now that they have that tells you how much distance there is between you and the pin. And study the play, study the course, study the shot. Think about this stuff and make sure that you're planning the game before it happens.
Right.
And, if you're a links course, you like to play the links courses, then you've studied the course and you said, I picked this course because I like to play the links courses. If you prefer to play a course that's more involved with hazards and, a little bit more difficult, then that's a preference that you have. But the thing is here, Shane, is the more you know about the course that you're going to play, the better off you'll be. So you can plan the approaches that you'll take on various holes and think about how to avoid those hazards, the sand, the water, and the rough. And if you do that same thing in retirement, you have a plan for your retirement, whether you're living it today or living it in the future. You certainly want to make sure that you have a strategy, one that addresses questions like these. How can I structure my investment mix to provide me with long-term income streams, okay, guaranteed income streams? How much should I withdraw from my portfolio each year?
Right.
What type of what amount of a withdrawal rate should I take out at? And then when should I start taking my income streams, such as pensions or Social Security checks, or whatever I have scheduled for my everyday money, for my now money?
Right.
And the question that you ask is, am I doing all that I can do to control investment-related taxes?
Right.
Okay, does this kind of remind you of any financial decision should go through a three-step review process? How will this decision affect me from a tax standpoint, from an income planning and distribution standpoint, and thirdly, from a risk standpoint? So golf can teach us some good lessons as to how you prepare for the course, and the course of retirement is what we're talking about today.
Absolutely. We've talked about overcoming the yips, forget about the big hole-in-one, study the course, and finally, visualize. What do you think the author means by this?
Well, certainly in all sports activities, many have learned that the power of visualization is very important. Myself personally, when I play golf, I like to visualize hitting that sweet spot. I mean, just hitting the ball, not hard, okay? Just following through, making that perfect connection with the ball. And
you
then
can feel it.
You can feel it.
Oh,
it just bounces off the club, and it just flies. And if you're, holding the club properly and you're aiming properly, the ball will go where you want it. But perhaps when you think about visualization, we should think about, what does that retirement plan look like?
Right.
What do we see ourselves doing in the future as far as activities. How do we want to spend money? Where do we want to pull this money from? Visualizing what it will be like in the future will oftentimes create the end result if you think about that before the event happens. That's why I always say, too, it's very important that we get the critical must-know information about making retirement decisions before we make those decisions.
Right.
If we have a plan in place, if we visualize what that looks like, then we should know what kind of questions that we want to ask to accomplish that goal so that the dream becomes a reality.
Right.
This visualization, that's a tough one for me to say this morning, becomes a reality. So, Shane, consider these words from World Golf Hall of Famer Nick Faldo. Okay?
Masters champion a couple times.
Yeah. Visualization is the most powerful thing that we have. Books on it, folks.
Yep.
Several books on it out there. And I can say so many times in my life where I walked through a process of visualization, actually living that experience before it happened, 9 times out of 10, when you're that focused and you live it before it happens, it typically happens in your life.
Right.
It is that old adage of if you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
You're right.
Okay?
I've heard that.
And so visualizing what your dreams and aspirations are critically important if you're going to have the retirement dream that you wish to have. And sometimes it takes the input of a financial coach.
Right.
I've oftentimes equated myself to being the family CFO.
Right.
My clients are the CEOs of their family business, their investments and whatnot that they have for retirement, but they need to bounce their ideas and questions and thoughts off their CFO.
Right.
So I step in and I'm the CFO for their family business, and then I ask them questions that get them to think, those thought-provoking questions that get them to think about how they want and need to use this money in the future and what their objectives are. And then we can put together a plan that they can see it. They can see it coming into fruition.
Right.
That, I would say, Shane, would be probably one of the best feelings to me personally is when they walk out of the office and they have a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Their shoulders drop down. They say, I really feel good.
Right.
We accomplished an awful lot today. And it's because they are visualizing and they can actually see this conceptual thing that's been conceptual up until this point in their life.
Yeah,
where now
they've never done this before. You're accumulating, and now what?
And now
how do you
what?
Disperse that?
Exactly.
Wealth?
How do you do that? And what do you do to make sure that you don't make mistakes that oftentimes people that are making some of these mistakes didn't go through some type of a process to educate themselves and become knowledgeable in a proper system to make these decisions. So, I think it's important. I think that if you can envision the type of retirement lifestyle that you want, okay, then you'll be more likely to achieve it. You stick with the appropriate strategies that have been spelled out to you. You look at the recommendations that have been provided to you by a fiduciary, someone that is making these recommendations in your best interest. And then all you do is let the CFO run the plan for you, and every so often meet together and say, hey, this changed or that changed. We need to make an adjustment here or there for the better or for the worse. And now we're back on plan again. We have a good probability that we'll achieve success in retirement.
About 6 minutes or so left in the program. Wanted to ask you, Rick, of these 4 topics that we discussed this morning, which one do you see that people struggle with the most? Is it the investment yips? Is it trying to go for the big stock? Is it not putting a plan in place and studying things and to make solid decisions, or is it more visualization? I struggle with that word as well.
I would say studying the course.
Okay.
I would say learning what you need to learn, because there wasn't any time during your accumulation years to study the course. You were so busy accumulating your wealth and doing your job and advancing in the professional career that you did, following procedures to the T, making sure that I's were dotted and T's were crossed. You became an expert in that process. And now you come to the point of retirement where I just feel very uncomfortable because I've never embarked on this process before. Right. I'm an expert at what I did. I was an emergency room doctor, and I could pull people from the shadows of death. Right. But now I'm going into retirement, and I don't have a very good feeling about what the course looks like. I don't know what I should be concerned. Is there water on the end of that hill right there where I can't see it? Right. You know, is there risks that I'm not considering and I'm not preparing for? Are there, hazards, as we spoke about in the game of golf, that I'm not preparing for? And if so, then how do I go through a proper process to learn what I need to learn before I flip this switch called retirement? And I think this has been a great analogy to use the sport of golf. And as I said earlier, there's plenty of retirees out there that play golf, male and female both, and they understand this game. And now if we can equate those same, what would you say, those same processes or positive principles of the game of golf that teach us how to play a better game of golf to our retirement plan, I think you're on a course to maybe not getting that hole-in-one, but maybe shooting a score that you're happy with, depending on what your handicap is, and enjoying the game and not throwing your club and making your caddy go pick it up for you.
Well, just a few moments left in the program today. We like to give our listeners an opportunity to pick up a free gift here at the end of the program. And I know you've got that David Gaylor book that is a hot mover for you and your firm. You've been giving that book out like hotcakes over the past couple of months and working very well. So I'm sure you'll make that offer here again this morning.
Sure will. Income allocation. But here, do yourself a favor. Take advantage of getting your copy of the book and then register online at the College of Charleston. Okay. You can register for the course, and the website address is SPS, that's as in Sam, Paul, Sam, .cofc.edu. Now, if you miss that, you can always call us at 735-5065. Right. We'll give that information to you today. We'll send out a book called Income Allocation. We're going to be teaching that class come June, the first week of June. It's available on that website I just gave you, or information on our calendar of events at cfpgroup.biz on income allocation. And what we'll be teaching is the proper methods to withdraw income in retirement to minimize taxes, to make sure that your income goals are met, that you're following the proper strategies in a good course, looking at the course before you start it. Course two ways here, the golf course and the course at the College of Charleston.
Course at the College of Charleston.
Okay? Teach yourself the course. Okay? And then thirdly, how will these decisions affect me from a tax standpoint? Those will all be taught. I'm sorry, from a risk standpoint. Right. So those will all be taught in income allocation. We've got some invitations that we can send out to you that'll give you more details on what will be discussed. You'll walk out of that income allocation class with a good understanding of how to retire right and well on your way to developing a retirement income plan. And these are things that people don't learn in their past lives during their wealth building years and their careers. And now you have the opportunity to learn what you need to know to make sound financial decisions for yourself, either before retirement happens or even after it has happened. This course will benefit you, called Income Allocation. Get the book by calling us today, 735-5065. Register for the course. We'll give you the information for that or send you an invitation by email. And we'll look forward to educating the Charleston area, as we always have here on Retire Right, and also our courses at the College of Charleston each and every month here in the year of 2016 and beyond.
843-735-5065, the number to call, the website, cfpgroup.biz, cfpgroup.biz. Always good to see you, Rick, and we'll see you back here next Saturday at 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Shane, and thank you to you, our listener this morning. on Retire Right with Rick Durkee. Join us again next Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for another half hour of Retire Right with Rick Durkee on WSC-FM and WSCFM.com.